Well, speaking of eating up some TV time, our friend Twinkle Toes McFingerbang, good old Kenny Olivier, he had a little sit-down VTR interview about the BBC, where he's upset that they hurt poor old Don Fallis and how they did. They gave him brain damage. Did you know when he fell, he really legitimately gashed his head wide open, I guess, on a light stand or something. He didn't expect to be there. And
that looked awful.
Yeah. Oh. And they said it was like a 3-inch cut or what. His brain almost actually fell out, that cut.
That was my intention.
Anyway, so
Rocky V.
Fortunately, somebody was there to pick it back up and put it back in his head. Well, didn't they take it out first and cleaned it off real good, dusted it off, and then put it back
Shibata. Yeah, and now he's back wrestling.
So anyway, the aforementioned BBC then entered through the arena. Boy, they're hot heels with a fun sing-along.
I just want to say, I actually thought that was one of Omega's best promos in AEW. It was a different tone. Again, he's not going to do a serious promo as well as others would, but... And there goes the thunder again. I guess I'm saying something blasphemous. But I thought Omega did an all right job on this promo.
I wrote this promo was as exciting as watching a bird shit. What I wrote.
Or that.
It could go either way. Then here came the BBC, the hot heels with the fun sing-along. Again, they've turned heel to the point where now they're almost prison raping everybody that comes in their path, but yet the fans pop and cheer because they want to sing the song. So it was Moxley and Claudio with Useless in the corner against, and obviously here was another joke match meant to just get these people in the ring so they could do an angle. The BBC was matched up with Clown Cutlet and Michael knock it to fuck off and get off my television. The Stooges of the Buckaroos and their bonsai, Kenny. And besides the fact that Knock It Off has never been a real wrestler to begin with in the first place, and it's just he's been presented in joke matches, so is Cutlet, Blandon Cutlet, the bland piece of white meat. But he's still wearing the fucking stupid visor and the weird multicolored pajama outfit, and nobody even knows what that gimmick is anymore. It hadn't been referred to in years. I can't remember myself why he put that face thing on. But it doesn't matter. The BBC jumped the Stooges and beat them up on the floor with chairs and get juice on both of them. Now, again, jobber Stooges are bleeding. And all of it looked like shit because the only one of these 5 that can work is Claudio. And I thought at one point Cutlet was bleeding and still had the face mask on. And Knock It Off may be worse as far as a worse wrestler than Cutlet. And then it went way too long before they beat him, as you knew they would. And then finally Moxley gets on the microphone and he looks, he's almost bald. He's fishy fucking white. He not only has no physique, but he looks like he's never seen the inside of a gym or the outside of the goddamn sun. He looks literally like Al Bundy in a stupor. And his matches are the shits. And he gets on the microphone and he's doing the breathing and the blubbering with the sweat. And he, instead of saying it's clobbering time, he ought to say it's slobbering time. And as he gets started talking about everything they're going to do to the elite or whatever, the music plays and here comes Harpo. And he comes down again by himself. And this doesn't show bravery on the part of a babyface. It shows stupidity. You got Claudio, you got Useless, you got Moxley, and here comes Kenny. And especially when you've got a guy in the ring that's not going to sell shit. You know what, Moxley, you said it off the air yesterday. What Moxley sees when he looks at himself in the mirror, don't you, Brian? What'd you say?
Road Warrior Moxley?
Yeah, and I said, when I see him, he doesn't look like a road warrior. He looks like a streetwalker.
Road worker Moxley.
A road worker? Is that what I said?
I don't remember, but that's what I see him as now, like wearing a yellow vest on the side of the road picking up garbage.
I thought you said Road Warrior because he won't sell anything.
Well, that was what I originally said, but now I'm thinking, there goes the thunder again. They're coming for me.
You know, you've pissed God off now. No, if it was possible, I'd have obtained that a long time ago. Anyway, so Moxley and the BBC are facing the entrance where Olivier is coming from. And they think, of course, you know, he's coming by himself. But this time, it's a plot, and the Buckaroos come in from behind and hit everybody with super kicks. And then, of course, the Buckaroo fans in the building are popping for this. And Kenny tackles Plumber Moxley and throws what I couldn't count them because they were the little rapid fake girlishness ones, but they're at least 36 fake punches to Moxley. It looked like a petulant schoolgirl having a temper tantrum. Now we know why he's 0 for life in locker room shoots. And then the Bucks gave Moxley the phony looking double knee lift. And then Kenny, they decide to mix up a little drama and intrigue with their violence. Kenny goes out and gets a giant toolbox and comes in the ring and portrays like he's going to go hit Moxley, who's in the corner hanging from the ropes. He's going to hit Moxley with his toolbox. But he doesn't even really get into the milking of it. He just draws it back, and in his blasé, charismaless, personalityless fashion just holds it there. And then the Buckaroos get in and say, stop, and hold their hands up like, don't hit him with the toolbox. And then Maddie, the older one of the Buckaroos, dramatically pulls out a screwdriver and hands it to Twinkle Toes so that he can stab him with a screwdriver like they were doing the last week with Paige or whatever. So naturally, their Road Warrior Moxley then no-sells. Maddie goes over and kicks him, and Moxley says, get the fuck away from me, and no-sells it, and dares Twinkle Toes to come on and stab him in the face. And he's going to stand there and wait for it.
Can I stop you real quick?
Please do.
Despite your feelings about the Bucks and Omega, if they're the baby faces in this, should the heel be acting like that?
Nobody should be acting like this. This doesn't make any sense at all to anybody. The alleged baby faces are, even on a tit-for-tat principle, not supposed to stab a man in the face with a screwdriver. And the heel is not supposed to stand there and get in the baby face's face and dare him to do it and see what's going to happen to you. So then Kenny charges and stabs the turnbuckle pad, the old Kevin Sullivan spot. When Moxley didn't even duck, Claudio pulled him out by his feet. Moxley was going to take the screwdriver and then probably pull it out of his fucking cranium and stick it up fucking Omega's pee hole or something. And I just wrote, this is so rotten. And at least they're going to be fighting each other and we can skip all at the same time. But God almighty, is this, for a guy who, like Moxley, who thinks he's so violent, and the BBC being a group founded on violence, why is all of this violence look so fucking phony?
It's gotten to the point where it's stupid, because as soon as the music hits, the place pops. Moxley and Claudio and Wheeler walk out, wrapped in security. These badasses. The security.
Nobody's trying to get to them.
With the security everywhere.
I used to go down the appropriate fucking approved wrestler's entrance and have 6 or 8 or 10 or sometimes 12 cops around me and still get fucking tackled. They can come through the back door with 2 security guys with a walkie-talkie and emerge unscathed.
And then it was Moxley Unleashed. We don't sell anything, and we kick ass, and we like. It's just the same thing every week. Someone will bleed, and it's so lame at this point. And then he no-sells everything. If you think like, okay, he's gonna act like that, and the baby faces are gonna get anything back. Oh no, he's not scared of anything. Not scared of the screwdriver coming at him or anything. I've gotten to the point where I find Jon Moxley so humorous just because it's the same thing over and over again.
Well, I think you ought to switch the screwdriver. Start with the Bloody Mary. The old Andre joke. You remember that one?
No.
What? Oh, come on. That was Bobby Heenan's favorite Andre story. Andre gets on the fucking plane first thing in the morning. As he's fiddling with the seat extension for big people, they need that. He looks up at the stewardess and he says, "Can you bring me a screwdriver?" So she comes back a few minutes later, not with a vodka and orange juice, but with an actual tool, a screwdriver. That's what she took it as, that he needed help with the fucking seatbelt. He wanted a screwdriver, vodka and orange juice. So he looks up at her and he said, "What would you have brought me if I asked for a Bloody Mary?" It's funnier when Bobby told it.
You know, we just saw with the Bloodline how wrestling fans get excited over a storyline and watching things play out, and at times with that really slowly. How do you think the Mudline's doing? Do you think this storyline with the BCC and the Elite is captivating AEW fans or wrestling fans as a whole?
I think the Mudline has flatlined, and they're on the way to the unemployment line. And that's where we draw the line, because now we get to move on.